Hey guys, welcome back. We have a lot to cover, so let's get to it. All right, we're gonna, in this case, it says transfer to test kernel. What we're gonna actually do is transfer to a loader, and that loader is what's gonna load our kernel. And over time, that reasoning will get explained. That also means then that series will also cover this here. Now, that means that this is going to be the upcoming series. This is what we're going to be covering, booting, how to transfer over to it, the whole works. So we initialize with the EFI, loading and everything like here, blah, 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 blah. You kind of get the idea. So here's our tutorial 22 for the EFI series. And we'll be able to create the loader, and this is what's all in the file. Okay, so, well, what I've done is I've created the main file. Now, here's an interesting topic that actually needs a topic of its own. And I'm actually going to leave this the way it is for that series. But for now, and I will explain all this on the upcoming video because of lack of time, just wanted you to see the code that we have for our loader. Okay, we have to forward declare our actual function. This is an actual working function where we tell it what to do with itself. And the reason we put it underneath is due to the way that the stack and everything and how it aligns and how it's set up in the file. Okay, so what's happening here is we're going to be sending a number through this, which we're using memcopy. Excuse me. We're using memcopy, which is, I believe, right here. So there it is. That's the function we're using. So we're actually taking from the source and sending it to the destination. All right. So our destination is here, and we've set this up. I've assigned 4 bytes to it. I probably didn't need that many, but I just did that as an overkill. Okay, and then we're checking for this number. Now, if this number succeeds, then we'll end up going into this. If that number fails, then it means we've gotten to this. And so if we succeed and we go into here, then what I've done is I've set up orange right up here, and we're actually just going to check for that, which is our alpha. Okay. And basically, we're checking to see if it's FF. If it's FF, then we should get this number back. If it's something else other than FF, then we'll get this number back. And yeah, so we'll get into more details about all this and why I have this here in that future series. So let's go ahead and just test this out so you can actually see what we're up against. And it compiles, and we do the mount drive here. We're copying both the loader and that. And notice that I have created this folder inside, just like we've created this folder. Well, I've also pre-created this folder. Notice I'm not doing it in the code. All right, so just to load this, just so you can see what it's supposed to do. And I'm going to change this to pending. Now, I'll get to the EFI aspect of this here shortly. Notice there's 666. And this is a graphic text. Meanwhile, this is the UEFI text. You'll notice that on both of those. And then, of course, graphic text, graphic text. So you're familiar with all that. All right. So now if I set this to FF, because we need to verify that, yes, this does work, that means that it'll return this number from now on. All right. Now that that's done and that's there, so let's go ahead and take a look at the main file. Now, these two I don't need there anymore. Those were testing. All right. Let's empty that out. Okay. So before we get to that, let's go to the EFI libs. Scrolling down, if you recall, not that one. Where is it? We've got the graphics buffer there. I forgot where I put that. Good Lord. How far down does this thing go? All right. Well, Okay, I know what I did. It's right here. Yeah. Let's scroll that down, and we go to the graphics section. Now that's file, right? There it is. All right, if you'll look and look at this up, look it up in the actual specs. Notice blue, green, red, reserved. Well, what I've done here in the loader is just basically change the name, and instead of reserved, it's alpha. It's the same struct because it's a struct. And then we use these instead of the ones that were type defined for the UEFI. So I use this here that I have set up in here. Okay. So that's where we can store the information. This is a struct. So to do that, it gets put into here. And we're assigning the colors, and then we're pulling the alpha color out, which is what this is here. So why is that messed up? Anyhow, that's the loader. And back to the EFI main. Okay, once all that is done, and here in the EFI libs, by the way, we have our, is it read file? Yeah. We're reading the file in. Notice there's no offsets. I'm not setting an offset anywhere here. So that means that I'm loading the complete whole file. And then I'm calling this in here, all right, loading the full file. We're jumping to the loader, which means that now we have our handle, but because this is loading the full file, we have to load at the offset. So that's why we create a pointer to the pointer of the main actual memory location of where the file is loaded into. Now, this is for later. I'm not going to discuss this now. This is our number that we're actually looking for, 3456. And when you look at here, 3456. That's the number we're looking for that we're pulling from here. Now, again, I will explain all this later. EFI, okay, good. So, knowing this, we have to tell this section here, hey, we are aligning ourselves with the Microsoft ABI, all right? And where are you? Okay, and we have to actually tell it, hey, it accepts these kinds of parameters in both. But you actually have to fill it in. So in this case, I put a 0 where this would be, and the J actually has our number here. Then once it goes out, once this is aligned, and notice over here we are using our offset, our pointer to our pointer. Well, we're telling it, hey, run the offset here, but keep everything else in RAM. That means that we're not seeking to a spot and only loading from that spot. We're actually loading the whole file. That's important for this to actually work. So here, we're actually calling our external file, wherever that location may be. We're sending the parameter as this, and then we're waiting for a number to come back. You already recognize this because we actually did this in a previous tutorial. And then, of course, we quit and all that good jazz. And this section here, if I was to enable this, and this is already pre-tested, so I do know that works. If I was to enable that, then what will happen is we'll jump to here, and we will not end up coming back. It'll look like we hang because technically we don't have anything that we can visually see here. So that's why that is the way it is. Okay, so let's say that I change this number, say, to a 7. That means that this is not going to match, which means we should be seeing that. All right? So let's test this out. And we're going to get more, in, like I said, into the ABI aspect of it. Why do we need an ABI in the first place? Well, we only need the ABI interface for the EFI standard. After that, the kernel itself does not need an ABI, and there's our 777. So with that means that we can create our own. The way this is designed, we can now load our kernel from this file, and completely ignore anything that has to do with the AVI. And that's pretty much how it works. I don't see anything else we need to worry about here. So yeah, I guess what we will do is on the next tutorial, I will see you in the kernel series. So keep your eyes out for it. And I'm still going to be covering all of these. Well, this will be, this technically the exit boot services we're going to cover in the kernel series. So I actually should remove this section here. But now we're finally transferring to an actual kernel to actually carry out instructions. And on the next kernel series, in the beginning, we'll start to actually understand more about why this exists. All right, thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the new series. And as far as the EFI is concerned, we'll get back to this later. All right, so the videos will go back and forth because we've got a lot to cover, but we have to do it in stages in how it works. All right, guys, thanks for watching.